one of the benefits of democracy, when it works at all, which isn't that often, is you learn things. And then, even better, people are watching, they're hearing the debate, which I am certainly learning from, and then they bring to bear facts which impact on the debate that we've heard. And one communication I've received is very interesting in that regard. And it challenges very strongly both the rationale behind the bill and the rationale of a lot of the deputies who have spoken in favour of this particular amendment. Because, of course, the rationale behind the bill is there's all these blackguards who are appealing felling licences, and that this has caused a huge problem with people employed in the forestry sector sitting idle because all these blackguards are appealing felling licences. And to be honest, listening, I was thinking, Jesus, maybe this is the case. Maybe I've missed something, because it's true, forestry is not huge where I live, although it's substantial up in Wicklow, not far from where I am. But you see, and of course, the government have more or less been saying the same thing as well, because the rationale is we need to fast-track the appeals process, not as fast as some deputies would want it to be, but that there is a problem. There's a massive backlog, and that somehow these two things are connected. Now, there is a backlog, but is it connected to what we've heard here, factually? And the Minister actually hasn't provided any evidence, but somebody helpfully has provided a little bit of evidence, which blows the argument completely out of the water. What percentage, let's have a guess, what percentage of afforestation licences in 2019 were appealed? Have a guess. Seeing as all these blackguards are out there causing uproar, somebody must have an idea, roughly, what percentage of afforestation licences were appealed? Answer, 1.1%. No, it's not. 1.1%. What?
Whoever told you that story,
Yeah.
You got to have a talk.
What percentage of felling licences were appealed? 2.77%. 2.77%. In 2020, just over 1% of afforestation licences were appealed, and 75%, so there is an increase, 75% of felling licences are not appealed. So there is a jump in the appeals in 2020, but it's still very considerably less than you would be led to believe from the idea that there's a massive load of blackguards out there clogging up, hold on, I haven't finished, clogging up the system. But what might explain it, the clogging up of the system, is the department, not the blackguards. Yeah, but we've been hearing a lot of rhetoric about blackguards. Presumably the environmental blackguards. But hold on, I must be touching a nerve now. Is all I can say. I must be touching a nerve. The decisions being made by the department, not appeals, decisions made by the department are way down. Way down. Yeah. So decisions issued by the department on felling up to the end of August are way down from nearly 3,500 at the end of August last year to just 1,040 this year. So the issue of supply of timber to sawmills lies at the door of the department, not at the environmental blackguards or the appealers. Well, if you can provide me with alternative stats, and I've listened very carefully to everything you have said, that challenge the stats I've provided on the appeal percentages, I'll be happy to hear them. Because I'm open. I'm an open-minded person, Matty. Yeah? I'm an open-minded person. I listen. Right? This suggests... What's wrong with hugging trees, Matty? You might do it there to calm yourself down occasionally. But anyway, this suggests the problem is at the department, right? Not blackguards or with the appeals process in particular. So it is not necessary if these facts, what are yours? Where's your source? Other than references to blackguards, right? Lots of blackguards out there, unnamed.
I never used the word. 200 miles away.
Okay, right.
Where they're appealing to.
Okay, with some empirical, let's try and find agreement here. Would empirical evidence be useful in this debate? I think it would be quite useful. Maybe the Minister can provide us with some empirical evidence about the extent of appeals against afforestation licences and against felling licences. And is the problem, because we need numbers on this, right, is the problem that is being referred to the deputies here, and obviously there is a problem, is it to do with appeals or is it to do with a very dramatic drop in the ability of the department to make decisions? And is that, well, let's find out, Matty. I mean, that's your opinion, but we need facts. Let's have evidence-based decision-making. Yeah? I listen very well.
144 objections by one. Objection.
So I think the minister should provide some empirical evidence to back it up. But it would be short-sighted without that evidence to in any way short-circuit, limit or narrow the basis on which people can, for good reason, object and appeal licence decisions. And according to my source, at least, the reason why the department's ability to make decisions has dropped off is because it was found that the method of appealing licences was not in compliance with EU law. That's actually what's happened. And compliance has required a considerable slowing up in the process, i.e., because we have a dysfunctional forestry model and the EU have found us out, we then have to put a hell of a lot more resources into processing the licence applications, and that is what's slowing the process down. Now, what do we do about that? Well, it seems we have to comply, right? And we need to put the resources into complying with a sustainable forestry model and the resources into clearing backlogs and so on, but that do so in compliance, that are not environmentally damaging, that don't breach environmental directives, laws and obligations. A deadline would be reasonable if the resources were there and if it was guaranteed there was full compliance. If you just ram it through in an arbitrary 8 weeks and you're not in compliance, you'll be in court the day after. Anyway, right? Because somebody will take it to court afterwards for having breached the alliances. So what we need is for the department to put the resources into ensuring we do the proper compliance and that we change the forestry model so we don't find ourselves in these difficulties in the years ahead.